Hey guys, it's time to get pumped because we are talking about the distributive property today. We are going to be using it to solve equations. It's just a really important step, and it's going to happen. We're going to need to use the distributive property anytime you see a number directly beside some parentheses. So we are just going to basically multiply out whatever is outside the parentheses. So let's just jump in and do some examples. So number one, we've got 7 being multiplied by everything in these parentheses. So I like to draw some arrows so I remember to multiply that 7 by everything inside. So I'm going to draw some little lines, and that tells me that I'm going to multiply 7 by x, which is going to give me 7x. And then I'm going to multiply 7 by 4 as well, which is going to give us 28. So we're going to do 7x plus 28. Our next example, we're going to do the same thing. We're multiplying the outside by everything in the parentheses. So if I do 2 times b, that gives me 2b. And 2 times negative 3 gives me negative 6. And guys, these are our answers because they are as simple as they get. We might need to combine like terms later, but for now, we are good. So we're going to do the same thing for number 3. We've got negative 4 times y is negative 4y. Negative 4 times 3 is negative 12. And that is our answer. Make sure you're paying attention to your signs. 4, we're going to do negative 3 times 2x is going to give us negative 6x. And negative 3 times negative 4 is a positive 12. So that's our answer there. 5 is a little different because it's just a negative sign. But remember, there's always an imaginary 1 right there. So we're just going to multiply negative 1 times y is negative y. And negative 1 times negative 9 is positive 9. So anytime you see just a negative sign, you're essentially flipping all of the signs inside of the parentheses. So there's our answer for 5. 6 is a little bit different. We're going to have to combine some like terms, but you want to distribute first. So for my first set of parentheses, we're going to say 9 times 2x is going to be 18x. 9 times negative 4 is going to be negative 36. And then we get to a new set of parentheses. So we're done with the first distribution. We're done with that. Now we need to distribute this negative 2. So negative 2 times 7x is negative 14x. And negative 2 times negative 12 is positive 24. Now here's where we need to use the skill that we learned in the last lesson. So we want to find all of our like terms. So everything with the same variable and same exponent. So there's our x terms, and we're going to combine them. So for our x terms, we get 18x minus 14x. It's going to be 4x. And then we're also going to need to do our constants, which are going to be negative 36 and 24. And if we combine those, we get negative 12. And then there are no more like terms, so that's our answer. We're going to keep going. So 7. This one's super tricky, guys, because it looks like you're going to distribute this 10. But if you take a second look, I'm going to zoom in there. We've got a negative is on the outside. Okay, so we're only distributing what is directly on the outside. So that's actually a negative 1. So 10 is going to be one of our constants. So we're going to say 10. We're just going to leave it alone so it's not in the parentheses. And then we're going to distribute that negative 1, so minus y. Distribute again, plus 6. And then we've got another constant not in the parentheses, so we just write it as we see it. Then again, we're combining our like terms, so that's going to give us a negative 3y, because remember there's an imaginary 1 there. And then our constants are 10 and 6, so we're going to have a positive 16. The next two, I know that fractions look super scary, but there's an easy way to figure this out. So I like to think of multiplying fractions as multiply by the top and divide by the bottom. So whatever we're distributing here, we're going to multiply it by the 1 because it's on top. And we are going to divide by the 2 because it's on the bottom. So if I've got a 4x, I'm going to multiply that by 1. So that's just 4x divided by 2. It's going to give us 2x. The same thing with our constant. So it's going to be 6 times 1 divided by 2. So 6 times 1 is 6, divided by 2 is positive 3. So that's our answer there. And the last one, 1/4. So same thing, you're going to multiply by the top, divide by the bottom. So I've got 8x times 1 is 8x, divided by 4 is 2x. That negative 10 times 1 is negative 10, divided by 4. It's going to give us a fraction. So we're going to end up with negative 10 over 4. And it's okay to have a fraction. We just want to simplify that. So if we can simplify it, I'm going to say 2x. And then we're going to find what we can divide both of those by. So we can divide both by 2. Which is going to give us a negative 5 over 2. So there's our answer there. So awesome job, guys. Make sure you do your around the room and fill out your math lib. So those are posted around the classroom if you're on pace. If you're not, those are also on the page for this lesson. So do that and then use the form to check your work and do your mastery check. Good job.